the wills, the grunt, the really to push while you're tired. Because I told them, the other day when they were talking to me about the snap counts, like, man, we can run gassers, we can be in practice, and you give me these plays, we can run to the ball. But I was like, at the end of the day, like, you gotta let me push through some things. You gotta let me, like, get tired and get wore out there, so that way I can become better and get better from it. And that's when it was like, okay, your reps can go up. Like, you gotta really, like, sometimes you gotta fight for your own right to play.
As for Thursday here against Washington, remember when Parsons got here, Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley said he immediately started drawing up plays for Parsons. Well, Parsons said today this might be a game where some of those come out. And it's also worth noting, Hannah, that against Washington, Micah Parsons has 10.5 sacks in his career. That's his most against any opponent.
4.5 of them sacking Jayden Daniels last season alone in their meetings. Rob Domofsky, we appreciate you. I think you're in for a really special year this year. Meanwhile, Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence in his first year under new head coach Liam Cohen might not have had the best statistical game against the Panthers, but he certainly did what he had to do to get his team a win. One of the highest paid players in all of the land. Lawrence is now working under his third offensive system in 5 years, went 19 for 31, a touchdown, an interception, added another 12 yards on 4 carries. Hey, let's go to the dynamic duo. Break it down for us, Dan and Mina.
Week 1, confidence is back, at least for that time, for Trevor Lawrence, and that's what good play callers, good coaching does. Trevor Lawrence, for a year and a half now, has struggled with just letting the football go. You're going to get an internal pressure, linebacker replace. It's 3 deep, 3 underneath. He's going to work up to the top of your screen. That linebacker goes there. No, quickly get backside and replace it. Now 2nd and 8 becomes a first down for our offense. Trevor Lawrence didn't do that last year. This time it's a short in and a corner route up top. That nickel defender tells you what to do with the football. It's 1, 2, 3. Is he lifting? Yes. Get the ball out right now. Yards after the catch. So 1st and 20 because a penalty becomes 2nd and 9. Now listen, give me this. You give me this, you got a top 5 player at the position. Look how early he cuts this ball loose on the deep curl. That ball's coming out right now. You got 3, 4 defenders sitting in that tight zone staring at you. Cut it loose, dude. Trust your eyes and let it fly into that zone. That ball's pinned on that receiver for a huge conversion. That last clip for me, we didn't get Trevor Lawrence like that last year. That would have been a double hitch, triple hitch, or not even a throw at all. If they get that, they get a different quarterback this season.
I think you saw he had faith in the structure of the offense, and why shouldn't he? I mean, Liam Cohen, the effect I feel like is obvious already. I loved what I saw from the run game. We have these offensive coordinators switching teams, going to what we believe to be inferior offensive lines, and that run game doesn't always come with it. We're going to talk about Chicago later. This run game, I thought looked as best as it's looked in Jacksonville for quite some time with Trevor Etienne. The thing that really jumped out to me, a lot of it, most of his explosive runs were out of 12 personnel, split flow. Brenton Strange, who they've settled on his time back as their starting tight end after moving on from Evan Ingram, I thought was fantastic blocking. Some of the additions on the offensive line as well, throwing big blocks, Robert Hainsey, Patrick McCarry. If they can run the football the way they did in this game, this offense is going to be electric.
It's 1 week, but you have to be hopeful and looking forward to the future offensively in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he only had 2 play action passes. The 49ers to put George Kittle on injured reserve. That means he's going to miss at least 4 games. He has a hamstring injury he suffered in the season opener. Kyle Shanahan said he was a focal point of that game plan. He had 4 targets for 25 yards and a touchdown before pulling up after run blocking early in the 2nd quarter. Okay, Brock Purdy also dealing with toe and shoulder injuries. We'll see if he's able to play this week. Here's the upcoming schedule in terms of the games that Kittle is going to miss. So they win their opener in Seattle. They're going to stay on the road. They're going to take on the Saints on Sunday. They have a couple of home games against the Cardinals and the Jaguars. The schedule takes a little bit of a turn there in week 5. They're going to face the Rams on Thursday Night Football in L.A., and then Kittle is going to be eligible to return October 12th for their game at Tampa Bay. And we also saw, listen, Brandon Ayuk is out. CMC was questionable before the game. Mac Jones, by the way, is a backup quarterback. What does this Kittle's news mean?
I think a couple things for San Francisco. If defense is keying on Christian McCaffrey, which is what's going to happen, can you continue to punish them with Ricky Pearsall, who I thought came up big in this game? And then pass protection. Brock Purdy was pressured 26 times in this game, and a lot of that, I will say, was Brock Purdy holding on to the football a little bit too long, which he's sometimes prone to do, but also tons of unblocked pressures. Now, I think Seattle's defense is very tricky, and this is a week 1 thing where maybe, week 1's a little bit of a liar, but moving forward, that has to improve, I think, for this offense to keep running without Kittle.
I get concerned with McCaffrey touches. I mean, 31 touches in week 1 in September. And so, because the initial thought is, well, Kittle's hurt. McCaffrey was the guy last week. And so look at like the touches per 2019 per game, like 31 touches. Are we going into October with 120, 130 touches for McCaffrey? And so this is a lot to weather.
He's not 100% either.
It's a lot to weather in San Francisco right now.
You just feel terrible for the franchise, right? Last year, you decimated by injury. This year, and look, Kittle, obviously, he's the guy, the one-on-one guy when you can find those matchups. We saw it this game, the touchdown on the out route. They love exploiting those matchups when they get those opportunities. But I think people forgetting, you brought it up, Mina, and you brought it up, Dio, he's such a good run blocker. And ultimately, like at the core of Kyle Shanahan, he would love to dominate on the ground.
I didn't think San Francisco blocked the run very well.
I was just about to say that. So now you lose somebody that you count on. I'm going to tell you, like, and nobody's going to say it, they look old. San Fran looks old.
Yeah.
They don't look – you remember that burst and that pop that we used to see from this team? Now, again, they've suffered so many injuries.
Yes.
Dudes walked out of that building. I'm even thinking about the defensive side. Drake Greenlaw no longer there. Tyler Ufunga. We talking about like kind of demeanor type guys. So you kind of ushering in this new wave. And I talked about it before the season. I didn't know if San Francisco, I didn't think they would ever be bad. I think their head coach and that staff that they put together is too good for them to be a bad football team. But it's almost like this team is in rebuilding.
Yeah. I just
like
think they got to be really
they can't
smart.
stay healthy.
They got to be really smart with how much is too much for McCaffrey in September.
Yep. We have some more news coming in, you guys. Fast and furious here on this Tuesday on NFL Live. So the NFL has come to a decision on a punishment for Jalen Carter's spitting incident from last week's opener when he spit on Dak Prescott and was ejected from the game. Adam Schefter reporting that Carter will be fined just over $57,000, noting that the ejection will essentially serve as a one-game suspension. He missed the entire game, meaning that Carter will be available to play this week. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said that his client will not appeal the decision. And more coming in here, more top stories starting at Pittsburgh. The Steelers have signed former Patriots safety Jabril Peppers, adding some depth and experience to that secondary, with safety Deshaun Elliott expected to miss some time with a knee injury. Peppers certainly could see some meaningful snaps sooner rather than later. And look who's at it again, Howie Roseman. The Eagles have traded for running back Tank Bigsby, sending their